For the first time in basically 2 or 3 years, a Martinsville race has been good. Thank God. We're back. We are back. Shout out Goodyear. I didn't realize that the tire always means something at Martinsville. I was kind of dumb about that. But the tire, they brought a great tire that put rubber down. That was Martinsville. That's how Martinsville should be. It's been missing for a while. Not perfect in terms of how, this car sliding around and everything. But it was so much better than previous years. And Ryan freaking Blaney, who I just said last week, I don't know how it would feel if he would end up getting in the Final Four because he was so bad all season long. And not bad, but just, no, they were bad. They were bad. Winless for a while. It just wasn't really, he had one win, but other than that, just not really doing much with it. And I didn't think he deserved to be in the Final Four, but they have, when you get near maximum points at Homestead and Miami in the round of 8, you deserve to be in there. And well, it's not even about points. He won. He won at Talladega in the round of 12, and he won at Martinsville in the round of 8. And in this point system, you could DNF every other race. If you make it to the round of 12 and you win Talladega, and you make it to the round of 8 and you win Martinsville, it doesn't matter. It's just about winning, and that's the emphasis that NASCAR has put on the playoffs. So Blaney deserves it. He gets in there. The Final Four is set with William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Larson, and Bell. I think everyone's going to be really happy with that. It's 4 drivers that I think a lot of people like. Obviously the one that missed out that we will talk about, Denny Hamlin missed out. Martrix Jr. missed out. 2 Gibbs guys, which I guess the majority of fans don't like Joe Gibbs Racing, so that's why they don't obviously with Denny Hamlin it's a little bit different. A lot of people don't like Denny Hamlin. So yeah, I think it's a Final Four that people really like. A Final Four that whoever wins the championship, you could say, is deserving in their own way. Christopher Bell, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated drivers in the series. Larson is one of the best drivers, if not the best driver in the series. William Byron has been the most dominant driver this season, and Ryan Blaney has caught absolute fire in the last 4 to 5 weeks of the playoffs. And with that, catching fire at the right time, he is now in. So is it well deserving for all 4 of them? I do think so, but we will talk about that. And the guys that missed out, actually, more importantly, I do got some opinions on it. I want to give a shout out to all the Patreon members, as always, for supporting the channel. Thank you guys so much for the support. As always, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you guys subscribe. Comment down below with your thoughts on the race, and let's get into it. The race itself, in my opinion, 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. I really, really enjoyed it. There were for the first time in a while, and I think it has everything to do with the tire. The tire, I remember at previous Martinsville races with the next gen car that rubber was not being laid down. And sometimes when Goodyear brings a tire to Martinsville and the rubber does not get laid down, that's a problem for Martinsville. That's not just the next gen car. That has happened in previous times with other cars as well. So Goodyear had to find the right tire that would get the rubber down onto the track, that would let the track evolve, and then that way you would have comers and goers, and that is what happened. But not just that. When people would pit, for example, Blaney and Hamlin battling, there were some amazing battles for the lead between the 2 fastest cars today, which was Ryan Blaney and Denny Hamlin. When they would battle, they were able to kind of get close to each other, race clean, race hard. It was the first time I've seen with the next-gen car at a short track kind of the racing we've been missing since Gen 6 went away. Now, of course, I'm not asking for Gen 6 to come back, but everyone knows this car has issues at short tracks and at road courses, so this was the first time we've seen it actually perform at the short tracks and at a road course. Well, not really a road course, but at a short track. And it really is Goodyear. It's Goodyear. So again, massive credit to Goodyear for finding a tire that works, and Goodyear has to continue to work at these tracks. But I think at other short tracks, for example, Phoenix, when the speed picks up, because you're not going to be going as slow as Martinsville, but when the speed picks up, I don't think they're going to have the same rubber buildup at Phoenix. I don't have a lot of hope for Phoenix, to be honest, but I didn't have a lot of hope for Martinsville, and it came through clutch. The race itself was really, really good. The dominant guys were the guys that qualified up front. So Martrix Jr., Denny Hamlin, those guys qualified up front, did extremely well. Ryan Blaney did not technically qualify up front. He did not qualify in the top 10, but he was able to drive his way through the field on the first stint. I think he went from 11th to about 5th or 4th, somewhere around there. So you could see that he was getting up there, gain a few spots at the end of stage 1, I think it was, and then go to, or no, end of the caution, and then go ahead and just be extremely good and be the fastest car on track. It was between him and Denny Hamlin. They were both very similar, but as the race goes on, I think you see Denny Hamlin has the fastest car. The third fastest car was Martin Truex Jr., who needed a really good run, but with Ryan Blaney and Denny Hamlin also running really well, it put Martin Truex Jr. in essentially a must-win situation, which he didn't really have, and then a speeding penalty by Truex late in the race costs him everything. You can't get the track position back from that point on when you're that far back. I think there was still like 180 laps to go when he got a speeding penalty, but you cannot do that when you need to win the race. And so that was tough for them. A lot of cautions as well. There was a lot of, for the first time, like I said, actual Martinsville racing, beating and banging, a lot of fighting. Alex Bowman and Harrison Burton got into it with some hard racing, and they caused a wreck that almost actually got Denny Hamlin, who was leading, almost got him involved. Just a lot of really hard racing, a lot of guys who were struggling. William Byron was the story of this race in terms of points. William Byron heads in, and we talked about it. He was 30 to the good, and then I said he was 20 to the good on Blaney. So even if, for example, Denny Hamlin or Truex or whatever wins, you still got 20 to the good on Blaney. However, Blaney, Hamlin, and Truex were literally running 1, 2, and 3. So William Byron running outside the top 10 all race, between 15th and 20th, pretty much all race, ended up costing him severely, and he had basically heart attacks if Denny Hamlin were to win. If Ryan Blaney were to win, he was actually still okay because Ryan Blaney was above the cut line, so he had a bigger gap to Denny Hamlin to Martin Truex Jr. So Blaney winning saves William Byron's skin, because if, let's say, Denny Hamlin were to win, then William Byron would have been out because Blaney already made up the 20 points within the stages and then would have finished at least 10 to 12 positions higher than him in the race result, so he would have advanced on points. So for William Byron fans, it was massive, massive, massive that Ryan Blaney won this race and not Denny Hamlin. But also, this does make me think about this playoff format, specifically regarding William Byron and Martin Truex Jr. With Martin Truex Jr., it's a little bit less. Truex was awful the entire playoffs. Him missing the Final Four is a consequence of him literally not getting a single race right in the last 9 races of the playoffs, which it doesn't matter what format you use, whether it is season long, a 10-race chase, a 18-race chase at the halfway point of the season. It doesn't matter. Whatever format you want to pick, Truex did not deserve to be competing for a championship based off his performance in the last 9 races. There's only one format of this playoff system that would have benefited him, as that is, and I've heard this before, and you guys can leave your opinions down below in the comments if you agree with this, is that the regular season champion advances directly to the championship 4 race, which, to be fair, sounds fair. It sounds fair that if you are the best in the 26 races leading up to the playoffs, if you win the regular season championship, then you deserve to be locked into the Final Four regardless of what happens to you in the playoffs. That's a debate for another day. But for example, my favorite playoff format, which is the 10-race chase, that doesn't exist. you don't get a lock-in. There is no one-race championship race. So that's the only format for Truex fans that would have worked for them. Truex didn't deserve it. At the end of the day, Truex, based off his running, did not deserve to be in the championship race. If William Byron would have missed out, that would have really annoyed me. Like, for example, if both William Byron and Truex both miss out of the championship 4, that would have really annoyed me. I tweeted that out mainly because it just didn't seem right. Those are the two favorites. Those are the two guys that deserved, in my opinion, to be in the championship race. William Byron has had a career year. He has been dominant. He has been the best in terms of his consistency and in terms of wins. He's been the best. And for him to not be in the championship 4 race would have really ticked me off. Already enough that we decide this thing in one race, but for the most dominant guy of the season to not make it, and this has happened to him before, not in terms of not making the championship race, but when he was in the Truck Series and he wins 6 or 7 races or whatever it was, and he was clearly the best, and he clearly deserved the championship when his engine, I think it was an engine that cut out of him at Phoenix, if my memory serves me right, and then he loses the championship because of that nonsense. The fact that that's a possibility still to this day annoys me. And I'm just glad that that did not happen. I'm glad that William Byron advances to the championship 4 because he deserves it, in my opinion. Ryan Blaney, who really was not good at any point really this season, except for the final few races. He's in it. Will he win the championship? We will see, but he's in it. And does he deserve to be in it? If you win Talladega and you win Martinsville, then yes, I think you deserve to be in it. No matter what you do in the other parts of the season, no matter if you were struggling in the regular season, you were struggling in the round of 16, and you weren't running top 5 consistently, you weren't leading laps, you weren't competing for races, but in the final 6 weeks of the season, you win a Talladega race because you're also very good at restrictor plate racing, and then you gain speed. Penske gained speed. Austin Cindric ran well at points today. Joey Logano ran well at points today and also decided to completely dump Ty Gibbs for absolutely no reason. I don't really understand what Joey Logano was doing. It was Joey Logano doing what Joey Logano does. I feel like his glasses get too tight to his head sometimes. I don't really understand what he's doing. Just decides to pile drive Ty Gibbs out of nowhere. And listen, Ty Gibbs, I get it. You're a rookie. You got to start standing up for yourself. Don't let that BS happen to you because it's just ridiculous. No, and this wasn't even late in the race. For Logano just to drive through Ty Gibbs like that and cause that wreck is pathetic. It's an absolute joke. And so Ty Gibbs has to stand up for himself and don't be bullied essentially by veterans of the sport. And to be fair, Logano has picked his fights with multiple people. Ty Gibbs, I know you look like you're 15 years old, but Logano at one point looked like he was 12 when he was actually 25. So it's actually a good, styles make fights. It makes sense. Two basically kids that are adults that look like kids going at each other. It's fine. But Logano was a little bit of a prick today, but essentially they had speed. Penske has had speed out of nowhere. I don't really know where it came from, how they found it. They haven't had it all season, but they finally get a little bit of it. And it wasn't just actually Penske. It was actually all of Ford as well. Ford actually did perform really well. Kevin Harvick qualified well, fell back. But with Penske running well, Briscoe ran well. Eric Almirola with strategy gets up there and is able to actually run really well as well. So the Fords found something at the short tracks. We'll see if it carries over to Phoenix. Let's go to the race results. Ryan Blaney, Eric Almirola, Denny Hamlin, Briscoe, Logano. These race results are a little bit mixed up because of pit strategy. In the middle of the race, there were a lot of cautions, and you had to kind of run the race backwards. So guys like Ryan Blaney and Denny Hamlin pit. As soon as they know they can make it to the end, they decide to come down pit road because even though the tire was laying down rubber, it still wasn't wearing like usual Martinsville tires kind of wear, where you fall off 2 seconds, 3 seconds per run. It wasn't like that. So there's still work to be done in terms of getting this next gen car to be essentially get out of the track. It's actually too planted to the track because of the bigger tires, because of the way the car is designed. It's too planted to the track. And what we saw in the Xfinity series, and I saw one of my tweets yesterday almost has like 1,000 likes, and I think has a bunch of engagements, and it literally was just an opinion. I didn't really mean anything by it. In terms of moving the Xfinity car to the Cup Series for short tracks, is because the Xfinity car is out of the track. You literally watch the cars, and they are out of that racetrack. They're not in it. They slide around. It's really cool, actually, to watch. If you take that Xfinity car, you throw it into the Cup Series, throw in 100 additional horsepower, that's a Cup car. That's literally the perfect Cup car you could have for short track racing. You would have to throw more horsepower. I'm not saying just automatically take the Xfinity car and throw it into a Cup car, but throw 100 horsepower in it and it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. You can bump and run, you can wreck people, you can slide, you can diamond corners, find different lines. It's an absolute perfect race car, and because it's out of the racetrack, it's not as affected as dirty air, and it's also slower in the center of the corner. So again, also not affected by dirty air. So based off all that, because the next gen car is planted into the track, you run the race backwards. Strategy plays a part in it. It lets Chase Elliott lead for a little bit. He decided to show up until he had a pit because they couldn't make it on fuel. He ended up finishing in 17th, I think it was. But track position is still very important because you saw Blaney and Hamlin have to restart. Basically, I think it was like between 10th and 15th, and they only kind of got up to around 7th to 8th for a while before then the tires really started falling off over the course of an extremely long green flag run over 150 laps. Then the tires start falling off. Blaney's able to march his way through the field along with Denny Hamlin as everyone else has to come down pit road. And Ryan Blaney's able to get the lead with about 25 laps to go, drive away, and is able to win the race for him. So again, the race results: Blaney, Almirola, Hamlin, Briscoe, Logano, Larson, Bell. Larson and Bell just chilling in 6th and 7th, not really having to worry much about today. Chris Buescher, Austin Cindric, Todd Gilliland with Bubba Wallace, Truex. Remember, with the pit road speeding penalty, he's able to fight back to 12th with William Byron fighting back to 13th, but he was a lap down. William Byron ended up being a lap down, so only 12 cars on the lead lap. And then the rest of the race results. Tyler Reddick had an extremely bad day. He was never really in it, but that's not really that surprising. To be honest, I don't really see Reddick and Martinsville going all that well together, even though Reddick has been very fast at short tracks in recent years. But I just don't think I didn't think it was going to show up for him today. I thought Homestead was his chance and just wasn't. But then again, I didn't think Ryan Blaney would be as fast as he was today. So the final four is set: Larson, Bell, Blaney, and Byron. If you had to pick a favorite, for me, it is still Kyle Larson. The guy that wins the first race of the round of 8 has so much time to prepare for Phoenix. The team, the crew chief, the driver have so much time to study, prepare. And I know Larson actually doesn't go in the sim because it can't replicate real life feel for him, so he doesn't go in the sim. But for just crew chiefs, for team members, for engineers, they have so much time to prepare for Phoenix to try to bring the best car possible. So if I had to pick a favorite, it is still Kyle Larson for me. He is the favorite heading into Phoenix. In second, it would be Christopher Bell. Third would be William Byron. And Ryan Blaney for me is still fourth. He has momentum, but I can't place him in front of Byron, Bell, and Larson. Those three guys, if any one of them won the championship, whether it's Larson, Bell, or Byron, I think it is fully, absolutely 100% deserved based off the entire accolades of the season. With Blaney, it's a little bit different. He does deserve it, but it's mainly due to catching a hot streak right at the end of the season, towards the final few weeks of the season. If you look at the whole body of work, not really. It doesn't really show up. So, but Ryan Blaney is a fan favorite. All these guys kind of are fan favorites, not really Christopher Bell, for the sole reason of he drives for Toyota. That's really it. But we'll see how Phoenix goes. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Again, my pick, Larson. That's going to be my pick to win it. I don't think, if he has a fast enough car, if he's up front, I think the pit crew literally won him a championship last time. He didn't have the fastest car at Phoenix when he won the championship. The pit crew won it for him. I think he's gotten better. I think Larson's going to be really, really strong. And if he doesn't make mistakes in that race, which he's still good, Phoenix is not one of his best racetracks, but we'll see how it goes. I think Larson's my favorite to win it. And then Bell would be second after that, with Byron and Blaney following that. I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll be back next Sunday for another race review for the final one of the season, the championship race. And we'll see who becomes a NASCAR Cup champion. 3 guys going for their first and 1 going for their second. But obviously the one that already has a championship is kind of already known as one of the best drivers to ever kind of grace the sport with his talent level. So we'll see if he can start adding championships to kind of, I guess, complement the amount of skill that he has. Because it feels kind of wrong. If Larson only has 1 championship on his career, with the amount of talent that he has, that doesn't really feel right. So we'll see what he can do. Can the other 3 win their first ever championship? We will see. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy your week. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new. And let me know who you think is going to win the championship race. Take care of yourselves. Peace out.